I know this channel is normally about like computers and cars and sometimes video game and technology stuff, but I kind of want to put this out there and see if anybody else is thinking the same thing. I noticed something weird, something amiss in the critic community, and that was when The Last Jedi was released. You see, The Last Jedi was an interesting movie, to say the least. I hated it. I fucking hated it. But I've noticed a fairly large discrepancy between viewers of a particular movie, or audience reviews if you will, and professional reviewers. Now, I am a Star Wars fanboy who gets off on Star Warsy things, who grew up on Star Wars, and who idolized the characters from Luke, Vader, or Lord Vader to you plebeians, or Leia, Han Solo in that I shot first kind of way. Like, Han Solo would be the kind of guy who'd be getting off my lawn, motherfucker. Because, you know, Han Solo's a G like that, and loves to read the lore of Star Wars, and who knows the origins of the skull that Luke threw it. If you know that reference, hit like, because you're probably just as alone in life as I am. And to be honest, it's not really too surprising I didn't like the movie. That scene where Luke Skywalker threw the lightsaber like it was some kind of meaningless trinket to him, it wrecked me. Like, wrecked. It took me about 5 minutes of watching that whole sequence to get over it, but then everything else in that following 5 sequence was like mind-numbingly depressing. Like, just to see Luke to give up hope. I mean, Luke is like the key I believe this can work guy in the universe. Like, if Luke Skywalker gives up hope, then it's over, it's done, the world is ending, nothing is worth it anymore. You know what I mean? There's probably someone rolling around with an open window wondering what the f is this guy talking about? Anyway, enough with that tangent. So I didn't like Last Jedi, and I knew that some people, you know, would like it, and that would be totally understandable. To a casual viewer, it seems like a fun movie to watch. But what I wasn't expecting was a 90% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, and I can't remember the audience rating, like 70 something or maybe a bit less. But what I'm saying is, there was the critical response to that movie was a little too high, if you know what I mean. And again, I was willing to chalk that up to it just being me. You know, I'm coming at it from the fanboy's perspective. I've grown up with this series. I watched all the Clone Wars, so I was probably expecting more out of it than most people were going to expect. And I was fine to feel that way, right? Like, it's probably my fault. But the 90% for critics seemed kind of high. And yeah, I was willing to let that go. But then I was watching this other movie. It was with William Smith and like orcs. Bright. It was Bright. Right on Netflix. Amazing. Gotta go watch it. There's like orcs and Will Smith and cops and guns and fucking machine guns and a dude in a wheelchair being all badass Crip-like. I think he's a Crip. I really enjoyed Bright. Pretty great watch. Pretty awesome in my opinion. I thought it was fresh. The way they did the whole cops in a magical universe thing was pretty amazing. I loved it. I loved the soundtrack of Bright. I loved the storyline. I loved orcs. I loved, like, I'm a nerd, so I like that magical okay? So, I liked it. I talked to my friends who watched it. They loved it, or they liked it too. I loved it. But then when I went on Rotten Tomatoes, I was going to write a review, because, you know, you ever see a movie that you like so much, and it's not a part of a franchise, right, that you have to write a review on it? You have to shout from the mountaintops just how great this movie is? For me, that was right. And I really want to tell the whole world just how much I love the movie, right? I want everyone to know that I love the movie, and the movie's great, and they should all go watch it. And I went to go write a review on Rotten Tomatoes, it was the first time I'd ever done it, or wanted to do it. But then I saw something mildly interesting. Audience rating was about 86%. I felt, yeah, it's a solid 86% movie. Good movie, almost today. They had a lot of good points. It was pretty awesome. But then critical reviews were pretty low, right? And that kind of caught me off guard, because this was a great watch of a movie. Like, definite 10 out of 10 for me. Granted, I am a nerdy fanboy. But I started to read the reviews, because I was curious as to why people would not like this movie. Yeah, because people have a right to dislike stuff. And if the movie was bad, I'd love to hear what they didn't like about it, and I'd love to see their side of the opinion. But I feel like the majority of people not liking it were not necessarily not liking it for the movie itself, they were not liking it for the politics. That they didn't actually have a problem with the movie or the premise of the movie, but some certain points. And those points were... Okay, let me explain it this way. In the movie, orcs are pretty much black people, but they're black people with superpowers or super strength. Like, they're marginalized in society and all kinds of basically, people are racist against orc, pretty much. From reading the reviews on Bright, it seemed like that was the main problem. They didn't like that was the presentation of orcs. Which is kind of weird, because, like, there was so much more to that movie. That for that to be the critical problem with the movie kind of blew me away. And it seemed like people were legitimately letting their political views get in the way of writing a review, right? I'm not saying that racism isn't a big issue. It is, yada yada, appease those people who are getting mad and take it out of context. But to get mad at a movie for portraying it a certain way and to not even listen to the overall context of it is kind of weird. I feel like that's a problem with a lot of mainline critics these days. Back in the day, critics would separate the art from the artist and from themselves to give something a fair judgment, if you will. I mean, that's the whole point of a critic, is to give you an unbiased opinion. And I feel like a lot of modern day critics don't really do that. They're letting their politics crowd your thing. What the fuck? Those mosquitoes on my headlight are huge. I didn't think it would become a repeatable thing, because I just watched this show called Insatiable, also amazing, and I realized that there was a lot of controversy around it after watching it. And just so you know, I'm a fat dude, right? That's why this Grom is having so much trouble lugging my fat ass up this hill. I'm going 32 with my throttle pinned in 4th gear. Look at that. Nothing. But after watching the series, Insatiable, I must say it was amazing. There were so many plot twists, and it was just a great watch. I mean, like, everything caught me off guard. Like, I mean, it was such a good Netflix series. I couldn't, for the life of me, fathom why it had so many negative reviews. I think it has like a 12% on Rotten Tomato critical review. Holy fuck, it has a 12%. It must be terrible, right? I watched it. I loved it. I loved every minute of it. There were some moments which were so insanely creepy, but it was so well executed that it was great. Like, legitimately great. And I couldn't comprehend why I had the 12% until I heard more about this whole controversy with it. Now again, I'm a fat dude. I get to talk about fat people shit. With Insatiables, the controversy was a bit different from Bright. The overall concept of the controversy is people said that it was making fun of fat people. Now, I watched all 12 episodes in one day, in about 2 sittings. I can tell you, it doesn't really make fun of fat people, except for the bullies in the show who make fun of the fat girl who later turned skinny. I looked into the whole premise of this controversy a bit more, and from what I can tell, it's something along the lines of fat shaming, or fat phobia, or something like that. You can see it in some of the reviews. But basically what it is people say that you can be healthy while being fat. Now, I am fat. I used to be about 250 pounds. I'm down to about 228. My healthy weight for a person of my height, which is about 5'7", 5'8", about 160 pounds. I've been fat my whole life, and I can tell you that even at my index, which isn't overly obese, or at least obese as some of these people out there, there are major health complications to being even a little bit overweight. One of the main reasons why I'm losing weight is, quite frankly, I'm scared of diabetes. It runs in my family. My grandfather had it. I believe he fell while going into a diabetic coma, and that's how he died. There are health complications that do come from being fat. Ignoring that is just being delusional. You're not being kind to anybody. I mean, it's one thing to make fun of a fat person, you're being a dick, but to tell somebody that there are negative implications to being your size is ridiculous. That's just denying reality at that point, and denying that reality is only going to make your life miserable. I'm 23 years old, and my knees pop when I get up, and I'm currently 228 pounds, which is the lightest I've been in years. I have trouble breathing, and to just ignore that and to pretend that being fat is healthy and all that kind of shit is ridiculous. I mean, it goes beyond your feelings. It goes to your actual physical well-being, and I can't comprehend that. I'm sorry, I just can't. But on another note, the show was amazing. I enjoyed watching it. Watched all 12 episodes in one day. Like, it sucks you in, because it starts off, the first 3 episodes are so crazy and just so what the And it just gets more and more almost humanizing of these crazy characters. Like, no one would act like this in real life. And that's part of the draw of these characters. They're so exaggerated. Even the guy who's the coach, like, he's like my spirit animal, I swear. I don't know his name. But the coach is amazing. And I don't want to spoil it, but the ending, the last maybe minute of the episode 12 is so amazing. It kind of encapsulates the whole season into 1 minute, just one phrase, and I am most certainly excited for season 2. I will be waiting for it with bated breath. But I like back in the olden days, people used to rate movies with a sense of objectivity that's really missing from today's modern critics, and I feel like that is making critics lose their credibility. I want to go down there, but it's too dark. Holy, that used to be an actual road. If no one trusts a critic's opinion, are you a critic? I mean, by default, yes, anyone can be a critic. All you really need is some form of audience. Oh, you don't even need an audience, technically. A bicycle. That's what I is. I is the bicycles. And look, the bicycle can go straight, but the motor vehicle cannot. Let's try that. Nope, this is creepy. I'm going. Bye-bye. Honestly, like, you ever get that feeling where, oh, something big is gonna start chasing me? That's exactly what I just got. Now I'm getting the fuck out of here. Nope, 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 nope. I'm gone. Bye-bye. This whole area just feels super fucking creepy. Like, how do people live up here, man? I'm the only motherfucker on these roads. Like, this is where Jason is gonna come and, like, cut me up. No, Jason was in, Yep, time for me to leave. During the day, it's not as creepy, but holy shit, it's creepy up here. But anyway, if you feel the same way as I do, hit like. If you don't feel the same way as I do, feel free to comment that down below, because I would love to hear your side of the opinion and what you think, because in reality, if we don't have our preconceptions judged, we have no... Anyway, my main point for this ride is I gotta break the spike in, like the engine, break in the engine. Desert foothills. What goes down that way? I wanna know. Anyway, my whole closing point to all this craziness is that if critics don't separate their emotions and their political opinions from what they're reviewing, they're going to lose their credibility as a critic. And in reality, all a critic has is their credibility. Like, critics can be stars whose opinions are held up in holy esteem, like Ebert and Roper, and I don't know, other critics that are famous, but you know, they can be these amazing voices of reason. And once you lose that drawing power, that respect for your sound judgment and opinion, holy opinions, a critic is nothing. A critic is nothing without credibility. And the only reason to have a critic is their ability to get clicks, right? To get people to good brakes on this bike. Crosswalk. Seriously, the line's right there. Crosswalk is right there. Are you that fucking stupid? Actually, maybe I should become a critic. Type that in the comments below. If no one says, no, motherfucker, don't become a critic, I might become a critic. Because I do want to put out my own little movie reviews. And I feel like no one does movie reviews on a motorcycle. And that could really be a niche I could tap into. Movie reviews on a motorcycle. And the third brake light is out too. Anyway, if you like this video, hit like. If you want to see more of this video, hit subscribe. Motherfucker! Seriously, this one too!